Yeah. So I'm just recloning this down. What did I run? So I cloned it. We seeded into there. We ran bundle. And we ran this command, rails db create, db migrate, db seed. And then we started our server, and then in another terminal, seeded into our client, we ran yarn, and then yarn start. And that should be good. So pretty straightforward to clone this down and get it up and running. It's pretty quick. That took a couple minutes. All right. So going back to the Trello board, we have these tasks. Let's do our G's. So let's say like, I'm going to try to do this with Bob. And then I'm actually going to do another one like the G's front end. And that'll be like James is doing that. So projects, I should throw some of these done. So project setup's done, add models is done. That's done. And this is done. And maybe that's, I can do that back in our tasks. So let's say these are going on simultaneously, like Bob's doing the back end and James doing the front end. So I have these two projects. Like I have two copies of this project. So let's pretend like I'm Bob and let's do Bob's task first, which is the G's back end. So filling out this. And let's like maybe try to do some like, let's do a validates on here. Let's maybe do a little more in depth. Validates name, comma. Let's just do one validation in your presence can be true. Let's also do our before action. Let's do set. I'll call this set G. Now, if once again, if this was something like, think how many times you've done like a CRUD controller. So you might want to have in your Trello card, like here's how you do like a generic CRUD controller for like the main model. That could have like, you could have a validates example, it could have this before action example. And then in your card, you also explain why you're doing what you're doing, just so in case it needs to be different. So we're going to want to do this on show, update, and destroy. I can do like my private methods. Params. And new params. Dot require. GE dot permit. Description and category. And you can do your def set GE method and at GE goes per GE dot find params. Oh, sorry, GE dot find ID. Index, then you can start building out your methods and render JSON at GE, or sorry, GE.all. Your show, render JSON, it's going to be at GE. either create at GE equals GE dot new and pass it the GE params. You can try to save this. JSON. Else it's render. And so like if you have that validates card and you have that example, you can maybe have an, oh yeah, I wanted, you could go reference it if you had one that had like the errors right here. Oh yeah, that's how I do this. I do p.errors.full messages because something like that might be a little harder to like, maybe you're not memorizing. But then you kind of have like a little example. So like, okay, I want to grab those. So it's, it's the errors.full messages. Remember JSON, I could do like errors, at ge.errors.full messages or something like that. We can do our status 2. Do our update, just copy this, do our update. So it's just going to be update. And throw out the GE params. I don't need this. And then for my destroy, def destroy, render JSON at ge.destroy. Cool, so we stubbed this out pretty quickly. I think a good thing, especially if you're doing it like this. And I would say even probably more so than how I did this, I probably did a little too much code without testing. That's going to bite you in the butt for the hackathon. I feel a little more comfortable with this because I think one thing that like I feel very comfortable with is going through syntax errors really quickly. I'm fine going through like 5 or 10 like if there's 5 syntax errors in here, I can like knock those out really fast. I think if you're just when you're starting out, if you have more than like two errors, I think that can really bog you down. You want to find those errors quick. So this was probably way too much code to write before I tested it. Should have done like the index method and then tested it. But let's definitely, since I'm only doing the back end and I just written all this code, I'm definitely going to want to test it. And this is where Postman would come in handy. Because I don't have a front end. And I need a way to test all of these routes. So I'm just going to go to localhost. This needs to be 3001. Remember that's the port I have this running on. GEs. Let's send. Yeah, uninitialized constant API. Okay, yep, I know what I did wrong. So
I think it's because we didn't name our controllers with the API /.
Yeah, that's definitely what I did wrong. So yeah, when I created my controller, I didn't do the and this is something you're probably going to run into at one point in your life. I did Rails G controller. Controller, like geez, I forgot to do that API slash. So this might work if I get rid of that API. I stopped my server. So let's see if that works. 404. Oh, well, now that's a 404 because my routes, I do have the API namespace. So I think the best way to fix this, I have also done some work. So what I'm going to do is, and once again, this was me kind of maybe doing a little too much work without testing, but that's fine. I can make this work. I'm going to copy all of this stuff inside of this class. Because I'm going to delete this controller. And I'm going to regenerate it, but I want to keep this code. So I'm going to copy all of this stuff inside of the class. And then I can do a Rails D controller GES. And namespace, because I'm going to want to keep this namespace convention because probably all of my other like Trello examples are going to be using this. So I want to keep this convention. It doesn't have, I could have like switched my routes and got it to work in my routes.rb, but I think this is going to be the cleaner way to do it. So I've recreated that in the API folder. So that should be gone. Oh wait, I gotta remember I have these two things. So yeah, that's deleted. And now it's in my API. There's that controller. So I can go in there and paste that code. And then I'll do the same thing with that thing controller. So yeah, this is probably something if you haven't already, you probably will do. Forget to namespace that controller when you generate it. But it's a pretty simple fix. Just delete my controllers and regenerate them. So now they are in that API folder. And then if I try this again, now it's API/GES. Server's not running. Cool. Now I'm hitting there and looks like I'm getting a syntax error and that status 422. So let's go to my GES. Oh, okay. I have like, we can just get it right. Does that work? Maybe I don't need the colon there. Undefined local variables set GE, such as go back to my controller. Oh, I need the colon right there. Make that a symbol. Undefined method validates. That should be validate. Oh wait, no, it should. Is it val? I thought it was validate.
I think it's because it's supposed to go in the model. Does that go in the model?
Oh yeah, that is true. Yeah, sorry. G's model. Where is it? Can't find it.
It would just be G, right? Because the model's singular.
That is correct. Validates, yeah, and that definitely should go. I don't know why I threw that in the controller. So validates name presence. Yes, that goes in the model. Send. Can it find GE with ID 6? Oh, wait, set. Okay, so it looks like it's trying to call this set GE, but I'm doing my all method. All right, so let's go look at. Let's go look at that controller again. Only on show, update, and destroy. So yeah, if I comment that out, that's null. Let's put on a pry here. I want to see what that's going on. Binding.pry. Send. Is that not? That looks like it's hitting a different route. Let's see where it's going. Get APIs, controller. Yeah, that's going to my show method. Okay. Let's go to my routes. So here's the resource routing. Where you can really look at what your routes are is going to, it's weird. This one's a little weird. Is going to localhost 3001, the rels info routes. Or just type in a bad URL and you'll get here. API things. Why? What? Did I do wrong here? So that is, yeah. So if I go to API/Gs, that's going to the show method.
That's really weird. That's not happening on mine.
It's not. What does your routes look like? Oh, resources. There it is.
Oh yeah.
There it is. Got typo. I think when you change your routes, you do. Well, no, you don't. I'm going to restart this. So I still think that's the same one. API-Gs. What? What is going on with that? It is am I losing my mind? Resources. Where's my husband example? You're not getting that?
I mean, yeah, no, I'm not. But maybe it just, I don't know the difference, man. It looks exactly the same to me now.
Oh, okay. It's getting so much going on here.
Oh, I get it now.
Okay. I just need to close this file so I don't do that. Like move it over here. Yeah, so sorry, I have two VS codes open. So yeah, I changed that one. Let's see here. Yeah, because what did I say? 5 bugs? That's about what I'm at. Okay, so now it's going to the right path. There we go. That's something if I was a little more careful, like I should have caught when I made my routes file and looked at these. I just kind of glanced over it a little too quick. All right. So let's keep going. Send. Oh, cool. Now I'm in my binding.pry. And there we go. Yay. So yeah, something I'm doing here is writing a lot of code without testing, which I can write the code fast, but is it worth it? I mean, because I think I can go through those bugs pretty quick. And that there was actually a couple, that routes one that was a little bit of a problem, and like messing up the API. That was a screw up with, if I go back to my Trello board, that's like a screw up with this one. Like, so that one really wasn't done. So I didn't do a good job of testing that one. This is why it's important to, as much as you can, when you say these are done, that means like they're bug free. Because then I'm going into the assumption with this backend one, well, that my routes are set up correctly, which they weren't, and that my controllers are set up correctly, which they weren't. So if someone else, if like John did that one, that's like, oh, hey, that wasn't done. Okay, so remove that pry. So let's go ahead and test the other ones now that we're there. So let's go ahead and grab one. Let's do a get with one. That gets one. Let's do a delete. Okay. So here we're getting this error. Foreign key violation, update delete, violates foreign key constraint. Does anyone remember what this one is? So I'm trying to delete. So kind of like, if you read this, key ID 1 is still referenced from table things. So I'm trying to delete a G, and a G has many things.
You have to like declare the foreign key as dependent inside the model, don't you? Is that correct?
Yeah, so in my model here, I need to say dependent destroy. I'm saying, hey, if I delete a G, it's okay if you delete the things associated with that GE you're deleting. So I make that change and send. Cool. So that deletes. Let's go ahead and do a put to 2. So for this, it's going to be, let's just go update the name. Sure, what is it? So it looks like that updated it. And then we could do a post to API/Gs. Don't need to give it an ID. Let's just give it a name. Sure, what is it? Works as well. And that looks like that created it. How does that have an ID of 3? is a little strange. Oh, I only have 2 things in my database. Okay, that's why. I thought I did more. Oh, I'm doing a post request. So there we go. Why was this one breaking? If I did a post there, shouldn't that just be a 404? Oh, I see what's going on there. Okay, yeah. Now I'm forgetting to send the parameters. Cool. So oh wait, one other thing I want to try. Let's do a post and let's do our GE. I do want to check because we did have like a param. We could just, or a validates, we could check that really quick. So let's give it a category, but not a name. Okay, so we are hitting this else. So it looks like we're getting let's see what the syntax there is. Param is missing, or the value. Oh wait, that's right here. Wrong number of arguments, given 0, expected 2. Line 18 in create. Does anyone see it?
I don't think at GE will be defined on create. Is that possibly the error?
On create. Oh, this shouldn't be defined.
I don't think so because we're doing it only on show, update, and destroy.
Oh, but right here, line 14.
Oh, you're redefining it anyway.
I create a new one, what creates it in memory. Then I try to save it to the database. This error I'm getting is just under. It's saying some function is expecting 0 arguments and it's given 2. What? Let me try this. Broke. Okay, see, there's something wrong with my syntax. If I just render JSON broke, that's working. Okay, so let's try doing this at ge.errors.full messages. So there's that. Name can't be blank. Doesn't like this status. Because that's giving back a 200 status. I don't want that because this should be an error. Okay, so that's working. What did I do?
I think just looking at line 26, you probably had message singular.
Oh, okay, yeah. Stupid errors. Okay, so yeah, I can go back to the way it was. There we go. Send. There we go. Actually don't need it to send it in this object. I kind of like how we could just do it like this. That was actually a little cleaner. So yeah, that was the error. I didn't have messages. But good thing I tested that because that was broken. Name can't be blank. Could really go quickly and check my puts. And that should work. Oh, wait. I'd have to do name on this one, but that's fine. I think this is good. So did my back end. Yeah, I think with the, like, I've been trying to go too fast. And that going too fast has actually slowed me down. Because there was about, yeah, there was quite a bit of bugs there. But now that's working, so now I can do a git add dot git commit dash m. Okay, so this is the Bob page. So now I'm going to go to the James page. Because now these, I'm going to have these like not work, like not be the same thing. So I actually need to cd into the other project and run it on here. Does this make sense? So now this project is not actually going to have those backend changes. So if I start, I have my Rails running on this server now from the James's project. If I try to do this now, I'm getting that 404 because I don't have those, I don't have the routes defined or whatever. Or I still have that same error. But what I want to show, okay, so let's pretend like I'm also now working on this feature while Bob's working on the back end. I'm just doing this in parallel. I'm not two people, I really can't do that, but what I want to show is how much work I can do on the front end without the back end working. And how you might do this. Okay, so I could grab my use state, use effect. So const GEs and set GES, set my GEs, use state. Because this also like, you're just generic, like, you know, index page for a React component also becomes kind of this similar thing, right? You create some state, you do a use effect with the empty dependency arrays, and then you do like your get method. Go ahead and define that. Now this is going to be your async call. You do your try, catch. Console.log. There. So we can just do our response, let res equals await axios.get. See, this is why I wanted to make sure I moved those controllers back into the API folder. Just because maybe beforehand, me and the backend person decided, hey, that's what the route's going to be. So even though the backend person, even though the backend person has not even started or is not done, they could tell you, they could give you, hey, if you do an API /GES, I'm going to give you back an array of data that has name, description, and category. So even though it's not working, they can, the backend person can say, hey, I will have this working at some point, but this is what it's going to look like. So as a front-end developer, I can, you know, stub this out appropriately. And I could, you know, set guess to be response.data. This might be, let's do a little more testing with this one. Axios is not defined. Let's import Axios. This code. Import Axios from Axios. Go to my guess. Cool, I'm kind of expecting that 404 because it's not defined. Now maybe if I wanted to do like an error, I could do that. But maybe that's not really going to be part of this. Like maybe this, like the error handling is like a nice to have. It's not like a need to have. Am I kind of done here since my backend's not working?
I mean, it would be tough to test, but you probably could start getting some sort of render method going to show the G's.
Yeah. And I think I could get, because yeah, I want to, that's because that's a lot of the work here is the render method. Like I want to do the render method and then maybe set up some like set up stuff. So since I know what the API call and what it's going to return, like what the data looks like, I'm going to get an array of objects that have name, description, and category. I can just come up here. Just create some dummy data. And I'm just going to hard code this. cat1. And maybe I just want to do 2 of them so I can check that, like I can loop over this array. Boom. Now I could do error handling, but we're not going to do it. Could do error handling. But for now, let's say the console.logs my error handling. I'm going to comment out my error handling. And in my catch, I could just set that to my dummy data. So now I can like pretend like this is working. You know, I could, run that now, go into my developer tools. Where is it? Switch just. Cool. Now I have those categories in my state. And they're going to match, the key part here is like I'm matching what I'm kind of expecting when I'm getting back from the database. Another thing these would have would be an ID. So I'll go ahead and throw an ID in here as well. So I have that data to work with. And now I can do like my render guess method. Okay, so this would just be, return my guess.map. Go through each thing. Let's return. Let's do a little semantic. Just do a little semantic demo in here. So I want a card. maybe. Something simple. Sure, maybe like that looks pretty good. Try this out. I don't like how they're doing that. That looks good. They have like a little weird way how they're doing that. We could totally make that work, but we don't. We would need to do another map function. Let's try this one. Okay, cool. There's just a simple card. That's what I was looking for. So then I could come in here. I need to import this card. And then I kind of just need to change this to what, you know, I mean, I could try this right here. I think this is always good. I mean, that description is not going to be defined. But it's always good to like maybe, you know, get it working first before you try to throw in your own data. So I need to import card and icon. Now I'm at least rendering those two. And you know, it looks decent with the very minimal amount of work. So then instead of the header, this could be my G dot main. The description could maybe be my G dot all description, probably would make sense there. And then here it could be like a, maybe I don't need an icon for that. I just do my, in here, a G dot category. All right, and that looks decent. I could try like seeing how they do, like here they did the grid. You want to try to like maybe do a grid, you can look at like the grids. Or I think like a card should have like, maybe look at how they're doing this grid, like a card group, it looks like. So I come in here and wrap all my cards in a card group. See if that fixes that. Now there should be rendering in that row. I'll select this out since there's some semantic stuff in there. See, like this is, I've done no work on the styling really, and it looks pretty good. So it's a nice thing about about these component libraries. Sweet, but yeah, now also I could do things like maybe on here I want to do like a link. It's not going to import that. Okay, let's import link from React Router. Do my link. Say like show, and this could go to, what was our path? It was GES and then the ID. So remember, this is the path we defined in our app.js, which is, this is a React Router thing. It's not our Axios or a Rails thing. ID is not defined. That's going to be g.id. What's going on there? thought we had tested that one. Jeez. That's a weird one. App.js. Did I? Oh. Okay. I had the. Remember when I made that change, the ID? Yeah. Oh. I'm gonna restart my server. That's this is a weird. Why is that? Is that actually trying? Oh no! Wait, is that actually trying to do a get? G/1. Um. Let's see if this new is working. That is a weird one. Okay. So our new works, but let's see if our edit works. If it really is just, there's our edit.
Is it because the backend hasn't been set up for this one?
So remember, this is just React router.
Oh, that's right. So yeah, it wouldn't matter.
Yeah, it shouldn't be. Oh, I have this. No, is that screwing it up? I have this GE file in here. Maybe that might be. I wonder if that was maybe screwing it up. Let's try again. Okay, that's a little better. I'm gonna restart my. Oh wait, sorry, I'm restarting my Rails server. I want to be starting my client. Okay, that I think that's what it was. Is I somehow like created that GE folder or file that didn't have an extension. I hope that's it because this I've like never seen this error before. Okay, yeah, that was it. So I had that GE file in there. That totally broke it because it was trying to render that thing that wasn't even a JavaScript file. Okay, so now let's go back here, go to my show. Okay, that's good. I could also do something like so coming back to this, let's see if we can pull the ID here, just to see if we're actually giving the ID to the GE file. Props, remember, it's going to be props dot location, I believe, dot params, and then whatever we named it in the app should be ID. This might want to see like, hey, am I giving that the ID? So when I click on show, location, here's what I'm going to do for this. You could either like Google this with the React router DOM, or I can come here and I can inspect and look at props on this page. So I come into this GE. So it's I thought it was on location. Nope. Is it on history? Or match? Oh, there it is. It's on match. So props.match.params.id. So that's supposed to be match. Cool. So I got to show ID is 2. I go there, show ID is 1. Cool. We could do something similar for our edit. And in my edit form, do that same thing, props. Just make sure we're passing the ID there. Props dot match dot params dot ID. Click on the edit. That takes me to the edit form. That's good. I can go back, show edit. What else do we need here? We need a, let's grab a button from semantic. New, close out that button. I think we can give it a color. Color equals blue. Our new. This once again, I'm going to wrap this, my button, in this link. And this goes to GES/new. That takes me to my new form. And then also, there's one other thing I want to do. Maybe I want these all as buttons, just to, let's do show. Edits. Let's do one more here. Let's do a delete. So I can also do my delete here. Now that's not going to be a link because this is, I don't want that to be like a, this isn't going to navigate on my page anymore. I want to just have a button and have this be an on click equals delete. G, and pass this the ID. That's not going to be defined, so let's delete it. Const delete GE, pass that the ID. Let's just console.log it for now. Oh, sorry, G. Call that G. Lovely buttons. Okay, so we have show still takes me there. My edit still takes me there. Let's inspect so I can see this log. Click delete, delete. That's logging the ID of the thing I want to delete. Well, cool. Let's go get this working. So this is going to be async. Just copy this try catch block. It's going to be pretty similar. So I can try to do a delete request. Switch this up a little. API/GES. Pass it the ID. I know my backend developer is using like the standard Rails convention routes, so I know this is the right route. Even if he hasn't started it or they haven't started it. Now what do I want to do here? I want to remove it from my state. So I could do like I could just do it all in one line. Let's do set gez is going to be my G's filter. And then pass it that function, go through each of them. And as long as the ID of the G that I'm iterating through does not equal the ID that was passed to this function, keep it. Well, I know that route's not set up, but I do have the ID. So let's just see if we can remove it from the UI. It's not going to remove it from the database, but in this catch, when I get that 404 error, let's see if it removes it from the UI. So let's just delete. So that's working. But if I hit refresh, they're still there. And I'm just going to fix this button. This button group's pretty bad. We can fix this pretty quick, probably. It's because I'm sure there's a button group in here. Like, how are they doing these side by side? Button group. Yeah, let's look at this button group. See if this does it. Button group component. I don't know if this link is going to screw it up, but let's try it. So I'm just going to throw all my buttons in a button group. This link too is probably going to mess some things up, but we can try it. Cool. It's a little better. I'm gonna give it some spacing. I could go in and like add some margin, it looks like, but one thing I might want for like this delete button, color equals red. It's good to give it a different color. Let's save that. Oh, I have it in here twice. Delete and delete. My new takes me to my new form. My show takes me to the show. And that takes me to my edit form. Cool. So I got pretty much all of that done, right? It's quite a bit of work without any of the back end. None of the back end was done, but this is pretty much done. So let's do this. Let's go in here. I'm going to do a git add dot git commit dash m ges index page. And then I can push this up to master. So this is like me, James. This is James's workstation. I'm going to then say like, hey, Bob got his stuff done, and Bob's ready to like push as well. So I'm going to go into Bob's project. We have committed, we haven't pushed. So I want to push. If I do a git push origin master, I'm pretty sure Git's going to complain at me. Cool. I'm trying to push, but Bob didn't push his changes, and now there's new changes on master branch on GitHub. So what this is saying is Bob needs to pull git pull origin master. Now this is popping up. There's just merging some stuff automatically. So once again, this is Vim. So you just need to do like Q doesn't work, you need to do like the command. You command shift colon to get the colon here, and then you need to hit Q. And you can just leave that the same. And see, there's all the changes that I just made, James just made in this other project. It's all the React stuff. And there were no conflicts because we're working on different files. Now that Bob's pulled, he can now push to master. Cool. So now Bob will go to James, hey, the back end's done. You can now pull from master and get those changes. So I'd be like, okay, cool. I'm going to come in and I'm going to pull those. Now I have all of those changes from Bob's project. Sure, it's all that controller stuff. And then I can restart my server. And there's the actual data from my database. So I can show that one. There's the ID there, show that one. Do my new still. I can delete. If I refresh, that's actually deleted from my database. So I haven't even changed any code and it's working. The one thing I do need to do from the front end though is I would need to remove this stuff in the catch block and go back to like my normal error handling. So I can get rid of my dummy data, don't need that anymore. Clean that up and just console.log my errors in my catches. Then yeah, let's see here. Then I could just go in here, get add dot get commit dash m. Not very handling. Pull. So what's going to be the habit before you push? You're going to want to pull. It's just a good just good practice. To push origin master. And then another good practice, whenever you push to master, especially at the beginning, you know, because you're going to be working with your teammates pretty closely, go to your teammates and be like, hey, I'm pushing to master. Here's what I did. Everyone pull. And then you'd send out that message and then Bob would be like, okay, I will grab your changes. Because really what you just, the longer you go without pulling from master, the longer you go without like pushing your changes up, the more out of sync you're going to get with one another. So at the start, I think it's, but also that's not to say now, and that's also more important that you're not pushing broken code up to master. Because now we're kind of having this rule, hey, you always want to be pulling from master. Because, so this is now, yeah, and be understandable with everyone, like you're going to push up broken code to master. It's going to happen for the rest of your life. Or, you know, you're going to make bugs. But it is just kind of like, hey, master should be like this stable code base. We'll talk about branches later, where your branches can be less stable, but master should always be like, hey, this is solid code right here. So I think it took a little while to get started. Like we took a lot of time on setting this up, on kind of planning it out, and it was actually that was really quick. But hopefully you're starting to see like now we can really bust through this pretty quick. Now it's kind of just like a lot of that repetitive stuff that we do. We can just really, get through our CRUD actions pretty quick. Because we have our models set up, we have our controllers stubbed out, we have React routers set up. So I'm going to, any questions on this? We'll keep working on this tomorrow, but something else before tomorrow that would be good to do is just to throw these in the done. And the nice thing when we come in tomorrow, we're going to be able to look at this Trello board. And this is going to be a nice little reminder. Hey, what did we do yesterday? Oh yeah, we did all of this stuff. Oh, what do we need to do today? Like this, we need to do like the update form. We actually did the front end page. I kind of labeled that in there twice. So some things we could do tomorrow is like the show page. I'll make this a little more clear, like the new form. It's kind of a duplicate. And then we could do like the GE upload or update. We have our CRUD backend things. So now we kind of have a list of things to start doing tomorrow. So start making these cards today, but make them detailed like this. So you can utilize those in the hackathon. And then also kind of just use it as a time to like review, really like sink in what we've learned the last 3 weeks. So we're going to be using this exact same stuff for the rest of the course. So this is a good opportunity to kind of really get it hammered in. All right, I'll shut up. Any questions or anything?